When I got married, my wife and I, we had a baby. And then later on, she tells me it's not mine. Incredibly painful time of my life. Father was murdered. Grandfather and stepfather died of cancer. Uncle killed in a plane crash. I've been an entrepreneur since I was, 11 years old. I started my second business at 15, and shortly after that, doing $100,000 a year. My billionaire mentor probably changed my life more than anybody. So the problems that most people have in their businesses and their finances stem from the past trauma.
Right, what's up everyone? So today we got Gary Coxe on our The Sahil Sehgal show, virtually from his private jet, just landed. And the next episode we gonna be doing that on his private jet, like in person, but for now we are doing this virtually. Hey Gary, welcome to the show, man.
Good to be here, man. How are you?
Fantastic, man. Now, better to have you on this show. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, your journey. Now, it's a lot of ups and downs and stuff you went through. And I'm sure it's going to be inspiration for a lot of other entrepreneur peeps out there.
Well, let's do it.
Absolutely, man. Let's start with that, summarizing that people who don't know who is Gary Coxe, what do you do exactly in one liner of a statement and why you do it?
Basically, I am a business and life strategist, and I specialize in showing people how to make change very quickly. Excuse me, if the person's in business, I show them how to identify the blocks that get them to the next 6 or 7 figures through strategies. Many of it is through our thought processes. So I did Dr. Phil's show, The Doctors, for about 3 years, showing people how to transform very quickly, because I think so much of our limitations are really in our mind that we've created from our past trauma.
Oh, amazing. And I watched a few of the clips from Dr. Phil's show. It was quite early when this show was done, but there are some glimpses of it on YouTube and all. I didn't even start my journey by that time. But I saw that you are quote unquote famous in that killing the limiting beliefs of people in just like under 30 minutes. Let's talk about that. What exactly how's your process looks like and how do you do that magic?
And I don't say this arrogantly. I fought this for so long. People would just say, Gary, you have a gift. And I guess maybe, people have a gift to sing and play music and whatever. I guess it's my gift. I'm able to identify very, very quickly the problems that people have with regards to their thought process, and then the strategies and the approach necessary to get through that quickly. So that's where I got the tagline, I do in an hour what a therapist or a consultant often can't do in a year. I've been at this a long time. I've been at this over 30 years, Sahil. And, I'm very obsessed with it. So I learn a lot. When something doesn't work, what could I have done to make it faster or better? Then I tweak and I polish and I tweak and I polish. And I've been doing it for quite a while. So after a while, you hopefully, get a hang of it at least. So that's what I'm obsessed with doing.
That's amazing, man. And curious to know personally, like, what's the biggest maybe fear or phobia you have killed of someone in person you met and you were like, oh, wow, okay. You were pretty impressed by with it as well.
Oh man, I've done so much of it. Yeah, I've done nearly every phobia you can think of, One lady, I will say, a couple of years ago, she had a morbid fear of needles, getting a shot. And she wanted to have a family. And obviously, if you're going to have a family and you have a baby, you have to get shots and blood drawn and tests. And she just was unable to do it. In fact, her phobia was so bad that if you said the word needle, she would literally be in tears. She couldn't watch TV just in case there would be a TV show with somebody would have a needle or something like that. And just recently, I would say maybe 3 months ago, she sent me the ultrasound of her baby. She's pregnant, gonna make me cry. Crazy. So that stuff like that, oh my gosh, rewarding. So that was one session. So if I can't help a person in one session, I don't take them on as a client. I don't do a lot of one-on-one anymore. It's rare that I do it. But so yeah, in one session, what she was in therapy for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. She wasn't even able to touch a needle, but in one session, she was able to actually touch the needle and have one in front of her. And this was all done virtually. I do 99.99% of all my work on something like that virtually. Of course, I do the same type of thing on stage when I do speaking engagements, where I take somebody with a psychological limitation in the audience, bring them on stage without hypnosis. This is all done without hypnosis. And then going through my processes, I demonstrate to the audience how we can take a person who has a morbid phobia through limited beliefs and value systems and how fast that can be changed. It's fascinating to watch. And I don't say that from an arrogant standpoint, but I am fascinated with the human mind and what we're capable of doing. And when we know how to tap into the right stuff, it's really, really quite amazing what we as human beings are capable of doing.
Pretty impressive, man. And how does it relate to like you're of course also a business life strategist and all. So how was this journey? How what got you started into that part?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I was, 11 years old. I started my second business at 15, and shortly after that, doing $100,000 a year. That was decades ago, so that'd be equivalent to, I guess, millions now.
What did you sell at then?
Drugs. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was in the jewelry business. I was my first generation jewelry business, so I became a jeweler. And shortly after that, I became a master jeweler, had my own jewelry store and everything like that. Started that at 15 years old. But what the problem is with many people, I guess as entrepreneurs, it's all of us. What got you where you're at now will not get you where you want to go. So where we're at now in our business, wherever that's at, there's a belief and a value system that got us here. So if you want to get to that next level, whatever that next level is, it's not just about, advertising more or knowing how to close better. These things are important, but we also have to think about the psychology behind it. Where are we psychologically? So if you want to grow your business to a certain level, let's say you've grown your business to a certain level now and it incorporates 3 people. Well, one of the reasons maybe you can't go to 10 people is because you lack patience. And that's one of my challenges. I'm not the most patient person. So then you've got to figure out, I have to change something about me to become more patient, because success doesn't adjust to your personality. You adjust to it. So what you have to do is figure, okay, what's the next level I want to get to? And then what are my personality blocks that are going to keep me from getting to that next level? And you have to be able to identify them, because if you don't, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So if you're able to identify the blocks in the belief system that is creating those blocks, now that belief system may have worked with, the first 500,000 or the first million, but that belief system won't work for maybe the next 2 or 3 million. And then once you identify what that belief system is that you're going to have to get to that next level, then we figure out, okay, what are we going to have to do now to change it? And many of the decisions that you make, that you silently make every single day, are based on the negative experiences that you've experienced in the past. So the problems that most people have in their businesses and their finances stem from the past trauma. And many times, if you know you have it, but you don't know why it's causing the problems it's causing, and often the problems that you think that you have with your friends or colleagues or family, it's really not a problem that you have between you and them. Many times it's a problem that you have between you and you.
That's right on, exactly. How old were you when you made your first like $1 million, 7 figures?
I never put a year on it, but I would say my late 20s.
Late 20s. Wow, it's been decades now.
I should have. I was in a cult. You probably know that. So if I was not in that cult, I would have probably done it by the time I was 20, maybe 21.
I heard that story about that. It was like you transitioned from there. So what exactly changed after that, if you want to talk about it?
Yeah, when I got married, my wife and I, we had a baby. And then later on, she tells me it's not mine. Incredibly painful time of my life. Father was murdered. Grandfather and stepfather died of cancer. Uncle killed in a plane crash. And born and raised in this cult, I left it in my 40s. So when you leave this cult, your so-called family and friends that are in the cult, they're programmed to shun you and treat you as if you're dead for the rest of your life. That will change your life very dramatically. It actually put me $350,000 in debt. I lived literally like 3 miles from here in my office on the floor on an air mattress for over a year. I would never wish that on anybody. So that also enabled me to figure out, how am I going to get from here to there? And it was not an easy road, but those are the challenges now that I've been able to push through. And I think what it does for me, it helps me understand and be incredibly naturally sympathetic to people's suffering and pain. And then if they have the true desire to make a change, I believe I can help them do that a lot quicker.
Exactly. Just because you have walked that path through, you know what it takes to get out of it, and that's where your specialty lies. And also, you do more of we talked about in the chat is like you do more selling from stages and all. I want to dive deep into that. I'm personally curious to know more about that part as well. So you have
Hmm.
done multiple millions of dollars from there. What was that moment when you decided? Was it like before this cult thing? After that, how was the time frame?
No, I've been doing the speaking for over 30 years. I've been doing it for quite a while. But because of being in the cult, it limited, what I was able to do, dramatically limited what I was able to do.
Were you like more of self-doubting your stuff as well when you do it? How was that journey for any entrepreneur who is like stuck in their life? Any advice
No,
from
I
someone who came
never
out
I
of it?
never had self-doubt. I mean, it's hard to have self-doubt when you're making $100,000 as a teenager, right? So I was able to create a tremendous amount of confidence very early in my life. In fact, I'm actually getting a text now from one of the largest. Bear with me. I'm just
Yeah.
get back with you in a little bit. I'm actually on a podcast right now. You should come to me with it. Yeah, they're very, very huge podcast. So I
Cool.
apologize for that.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, I think the problems that happen when you go through all the challenges that you go through, they can wear you down. And I was very blessed early to do well, and that created a tremendous amount of confidence in me. And I feel, I've been also mentored by, when I was a teenager, mentored by millionaires and later a billionaire. And I literally have about 7 billionaires in my phone right now. And one thing they all have in common is confidence. Massive amount of confidence. And when you have confidence, it's crazy what you can do. But the only way to get confidence is you have to go through some stuff. It's like, you're challenged when it all hits the fan. You're not challenged when the weather is fine and everything is great. So the reason you look at the political hierarchy in the world today, you look at somebody, if you take the average person and say, look, I'm going to make you the president of the United States or the president of Canada or the president of whatever, the average person is unable to handle it because they can't handle the negativity, the haters, the assassination attempts, the plots, whatever. How do these people get to the point where they can handle it? Where they started early and people made fun of them and they failed and they got back up and they failed and they got back up and they kept on building that resilience and building that mindset to be able to be where they're at. I mean, you'll never see a president become elected and after a couple of weeks they go, holy crap, I can't handle all the haters. Nobody likes me. Every time I say I'm going to do this, half the people love me, the other half the people hate me. And when I change my mind, those that used to love me, now they hate me. They don't quit for that because they've been conditioned. And we have to look at the whole picture the exact same way. And when we're down, it's so easy to understand the pain because we feel it, but we also have to have that 30,000-foot look. So how where we're seeing, well, wait a minute here. This is a bump. It may be a large bump, maybe a not, but this is a bump in the whole picture. So this is where you have to really focus on the journey, not the destination.
So beautiful, man. And apart from this confidence that you see in the billionaires or people who like they started early, of course, what other characteristics or traits that you see in them which made them becoming a billionaire? Where do you see that?
A high level of risk taking, but calculated risk. They paid a heavy price, heavy, heavy, heavy price. I have no desire at this time in my life to be a billionaire. I'm not willing to pay the price. They pay a price. So always remember for anything you want to get, like right now, I'm working on a six pack, right? I'm very fit. I'm very healthy. What's the price? I'm hungry right now. That's the price I'm having to pay. I don't want to be hungry, right? So I know I got to only do it for another week or so, and then I can start eating normally type of thing. You want to make $1 million? You want to make $10 million? You're going to have to pay a price. What's the price? I don't know. You got to figure it out. There's going to be an emotional price that you can be assured of. But everybody has a price to pay along the journey, and you need to determine, okay, if I want this goal to happen, here's the price I think I'm going to need to pay. And then ask yourself, do you want to pay the price? It's a yes or a no. Now, what you could do, you could say, well, how about instead of paying the price for the next 6 months, how about we extend it? And, that's why I've been extending having abs for the last year, right? Because I don't want to starve myself. People listening say, oh, it's starving. They say it's fasting. No, fasting is starving. So you have to look at things that way, and then you determine, am I willing to pay the price? And if you're willing to pay the price, go for it. We'll tell you it'll be four things that you're not going to be thinking about when you say, okay, let's do it. It's going to cost you more, take more time, to energy and effort. Always. It's always more time, energy, and effort. And if you're willing to do that, and maybe you don't hit the goal at a certain time, it's not in 6 months, okay, extend it. Don't kill yourself over it. Make it a year. Make it a year and a half if you have to. But there will always be a price. So they're willing to pay a very, very heavy price. I mean, you look at somebody like Elon Musk. The guy goes, he had one meeting. He wanted to meet with all or a large amount of some of his team members. He gave them 5 minutes each, and he did it for 18 hours straight. The average person's not going to do that,
Right.
right? So it's a price he's willing to pay.
Right.
He's willing to pay the price of not sleeping sometimes.
Yeah. A lot of time we don't think about it actually. We just like everybody's like, oh, I want to make 6 figures, 7 figure, 8 figures, and they just want to go beyond. But the price thing, it's like more of a we don't put intentional efforts to think about it. Are you ready to even
A
pay the
hundred
price? Is it
percent.
even worth it to do that? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
like when people come to me for a specific goal, the first thing I'm going to go, do you know what the price is you're going to have to pay for this? And are you willing to do it? And many times they look at me like a deer in headlights because they don't know what the price is. If they don't have a lot of experience, I mean, you can make six figures and you don't know what the price is to get to a million. You have a good idea, but that's important to know. And sometimes there's things that come up and you weren't even expecting that price, and then you're either going to make a decision, you're going to push through it, or you're going to quit.
yeah. Actually, if somebody literally tells someone that, hey, it's gonna cost you this thing to make 7, 8 figures, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, I'm not ready for this. I can't pay for this. Like, I didn't know this will
Yeah,
take. I thought a internet game or like IG reels
right?
are just showing me it's easy to make that 7, 8 figures. But that's not the reality, right?
Very true.
So, talking about these mentorships and coaches that you had, what do you see it as? It's a two-part question I'm coming in my mind. So, like, first is how they impacted your life. What do you see it as? Like, how much credit goes to them when you associate with them, and how do you see that industry or niche transforming these days? Like, we are talking. I just made a post about like trust recession. A coaching industry or mentorship industry is going through that trust recession. What do you say about that?
Um, I have thought processes and beliefs to this very day that that I know that I got when I was a teenager from one of my millionaire mentors. My billionaire mentor probably changed my life more than anybody. So there's no question about it. And this is, I'm actually making a video tomorrow. You can take a small fish and the fish can be in a bowl, and that fish is only going to grow no larger than the bowl. It's just not possible, which means you're only going to grow as much as the people that you hang around with. And that is why I encourage people, like when people come to my mastermind, I have a mastermind. I'll take my clients, as you know, to the Bahamas, to Sandals Resorts. I'll take them down this Saturday, and I will go over things, and I tell them right up front. Success does not adjust to your personality. You have to adjust to it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to hear crap from you that's going to say, I don't think that way. It's not the way I do things. I don't like to do that. I don't want to do that. That's called a negative mindset, or at least not necessarily a negative mindset. That is a belief that's not going to get you to where you want to go. So you're going to find there's things when you hang around people that are playing at a different level, that what was difficult for them years ago is normal everyday stuff right now. So what that person is that I bring, or these people that I bring with me on, they're going to mentally be challenged because I have to take them to where they want to go, and they're mentally not there, so we have to adjust that. And my whole process is through the entire day is helping them adjust that, because I'm going to go in and find all the bottlenecks in their company. I'm going to find the resistance areas, and then we're going to show them what needs to be done. And if they keep resisting it mentally, there's no possible way they can make a next move.
That's all right. And if you have to, like, when you take these people to Bahamas or with your private jet, I know you have this private jet mastermind. We'll talk about that. So, what is that, like, few key areas that you start from there? Like, okay, these are 3 to 5 things. That's your framework when you start working with someone.
First thing is, how much time are you actually spending in sales and marketing?
Mm,
Most people don't like sales. So if you don't like sales and marketing, you have a problem. because you need to spend 70 to 80% of your time in sales and marketing, not figuring out, is this logo just perfect, or spending all your time and money on your website. There's things in my company I know I need to spend more time on, but we spend more time on sales and marketing, because if you don't have revenue, it's like having no oxygen. You're not going to live long. And that's why so many businesses go out of business, is because they don't understand sales and marketing. I'll give you a typical example. I'm working with a certain type of company on Saturday, and they're in a specific industry. Well, I've got a gentleman here who wrote a book, for that particular industry. I contacted him. This is marketing now. I contacted him and I said to him, "Hey, Alex, here's what I'm doing. Would you do me a favor and would you give me some of your books? Because I want to take your books and I want to give it to these people, knowing this is 100% the niche that you need and that you advertise and market to." So this is going to do several things, 2 or 3 things. Number 1, my clients are going to get more value because I'm giving them even more. Number 2, I'm giving this person who wrote the book the potential to have X amount of new high-end clients that will be good for them. Number 3, what it does for me is an incredible amount of goodwill, and take a guess how much commission I'm going to get from the person that I'm bringing that book to. I get nothing because I have no dog in the fight. And the reason I do that is when I do some type of promotion like this, I want my clients to know I am not motivated by a commission, because let's say I had 2 people I'm going to share them with. This person's willing to give me a 10% commission. This person's willing to give me a 30% commission. Well, let's be real and human about it. If this person's going to give me more commission, who do you think I'm probably going to recommend more? The person giving me 30% or 10%? 30%. I don't want to even be involved in that game. So my customers and my clients realize, okay, this guy is pure in his suggestions. He's getting nothing out of it.
Right. And that way you
Now,
build up.
to answer your question about how the industry is changing,
Yeah.
here's what's the worst thing about the coaching industry. Absolutely the worst, 100%. And I doubt if it'll change. And it's the advantage for those who are coaches who are willing to change it. If you're familiar with the Michelin 3-star rating, this is a rating that the top restaurants in the world get. So here's the deal. There are over 1 million restaurants in the United States. Over 1 million. Take a guess how many Michelin 3-star restaurants are in the United States with over 1 million restaurants. There are only 13. That's it. Only 13 deserve that rating because of their excellence, which tells you that over 1 million other restaurants are crappy when it comes to the level of excellence compared to a Michelin 3-star. Well, when you hear coaches, all they talk about is what? Money, 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 money. That's all they talk about. You give them the money, and what happens? There is no such thing as customer service. You can't find them. You can't get your answers responded quickly. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So if you ever meet anybody that has been a client of mine as a coach, you will see the difference, because we know what it means to take care of them. My sponsor, Sandals Resorts. You never hear them talking about how much money they make, even though they're not in the coaching business, nor do you often hear them talk about how great their hotels are. They talk about how great their hotels are often, but they talk more about the customer experience and their team. They have over 20,000 employees. So they're doing something right. They're focusing on the customer. I'm bothered if you're a customer of mine and you're not getting your value. I cannot sleep at night for that. And so we set up things. I mean, I'll give you an example. Don't have it in front of me. It's in my back office. In my mastermind, we have literally over 150 items on our checklist, and it is only a 1-day event where we take them in the jet, go down to the Bahamas, and come back that night. We have a checklist of over 150 items, and we have about 3 people on that particular project, and all they're doing is checking things behind the list. So what happens is when the customer gets with us, they see it as absolutely an incredibly seamless program. Now, we have signals that we use. We use sign languages when things aren't going right. We have a team following up to make sure that when somebody says they're going to be there for us to do certain, I mean, everything is done and it is done intentionally. So if you want to stick out, look, and it doesn't have to be a coach. It'd be a restaurant, anything. Customer service is going down the more we get into technology with AI and so forth, because people are going to end up, and some of them do now, they have AI girlfriends. Are you friggin' kidding me? This is how disconnected we're going to be. And if you play that game, you're going to go down with a lot of other companies. But if you're willing to do something that's unbelievable to your clients, it's a game changer for them. I'll give you another example. The same book, right? Same book. And if I'm talking too much on this subject, let me know. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to let them have the book at the event because it's not going to do nothing for them. They're not going to be able to read it. So I go to a hotel tomorrow. It's all intentional. It's all written down. Tomorrow I go to the hotel that they're going to stay at. And then what I'm going to do is we make sure we tell them, we have instructions, because people just don't seem to follow instructions. We have instructions right here for the hotel, and it says, let me read it. Remove the name of the sticker. So each book has the name of the person on the book who they get the book. It says remove the sticker name. Place the book on the bed with thank you card and the picture facing forward. We're giving them exact instructions. Now what we do is I will then get the name of the person who is going to be putting the book on the bed, and then we have it tasked for somebody on my team to call during that day to make sure that was done. So now, after this incredible event where they think it's over, they get to their hotel room and boom, another gift. It just keeps on going. These are all intentional. It's all marketing, and this is what we do to incredibly take care of our customers. Little tiny things make a huge difference, but you got to be intentional. But if you're focusing on the money, you won't focus on this stuff.
That's so right on, man. I completely can vouch on that. If your customer is happy, again, it's like positive marketing, negative marketing. They can either bring you hundreds, thousands of clients, or they can let other people down just
A
because
hundred
they didn't
percent.
get the good experience. Yeah. I think in any industry, what you're talking about, it works. I remember recently I went to it was a karate class. I just did a demo over there, and I love the way how they welcomed it. So it's like there was a page on a stand, proper stand, and say "Welcome Sahil." I was
Nice.
like black belt
Yeah.
on my head. I'm like, wow, man, that's crazy. That's next level. How they made
There you
special,
go.
and
So
everyone
what I
clapped
tell
at it
people
when
to
I
do,
entered the
think,
room.
what are your touch points? I mean, you look at somebody like Amazon, right? What are your touch points and how frictionless can you make those touch points? I just had a problem with somebody today doing a design for us. I said, look, I am looking at this like a customer. I can't figure this out. And I am not the dumbest person in the world. I may not be the smartest person in the world. If I can't figure this out, it is not frictionless. So when you go and order something on Amazon, it is frictionless. You know your credit card's in there. They know what you bought before. Click, 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 and I'm done. It's frictionless. So you think about what your touch points are. The moment a
Mhm.
customer hears about you, they get your product or service, during your product or service, after it's done, if it's done, note what all those touch points are and make them phenomenal. And you'll change your game.
That's golden nuggets right there. People who are watching or listening get to that part. And talking more about that private jet mastermind. So what exactly is the cool other stuff behind the scenes stuff that happens that people don't know or they can only experience? If you can share.
We can't tell you that. No. No, we have everything from we have a dignitary police escort. So once we land, the police are right
Oh
there on the
wow.
tarmac. You don't have to go through customs in the building, so that's all taken care of. There's so many bells and whistles. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I love doing it because I enjoy seeing people get blown away. Not to mention, I make a promise. I say, look, in the first 2 hours when we're there, I'm going to show you how literally, and this is not hogwash. I'm going to give you $1 million worth of value. I'll do that, but I'm going to give you literally where you'll have 3 to 5 times what you invested right when you get back home, that you can negotiate intangible stuff 3 to 4 times more than what you paid for the program, that you can use it in your marketing. I mean, but when you think this way and you're passionate about it, people can see that you're sincere about what you're doing. Why do I charge what I charge? It's not cheap. The reason being is I put excellence over volume. So I know that I'm going to take this small group of people. We do it no more than 8 people, right? But I know that those 8 people are going to be blown away. Do you know the average 2 or 3 star Michelin restaurant is no bigger than your average fast food restaurant? Because they know that if they have excellence, they can also get a premium price. So I get a premium price because I give phenomenal, not only excellence, but strategies that they go back with and get a return on. And why would you pay me what I ask if you can't get a return? It doesn't make any sense. So we have to make sure that we get them a return from the knowledge. And all the people that come to me, they're obviously, successful people already. So these are people who are action takers. They're going to move on the strategies that they learn.
And these people are not just limited to coaches then, right? What you're talking about.
Say that again?
These people are not limited to only coaches or consultants.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I don't. Well, I do work with coaches. I shouldn't say that, but no, any entrepreneur, if they're an entrepreneur, these particular ones that I'm doing in a couple of days, this is more of a brick and mortar, not online type of stuff. Before they do, marketing online, but more brick and mortar. But yeah, if you're an entrepreneur, it's a program for you.
Amazing. Amazing. So other than sales and marketing, that's the first point you mentioned about what else do
Next
they...
point, your team. Your team. Most people, you ask them, who's doing your books? Them or their wives? That's not how you do your books. Do you think the average billionaire or the average CEO of $100 million company is having their wife do their books? No. Why are you having someone in your family do your books? One reason, trust, right? But that probably is not the smartest move. I want you to think bigger. Team, hire fast. Hire slow, fire fast sometimes you have to be careful not to fire them too quickly, because if you haven't cross-trained, you're screwed. What's your offer look like? How irresistible is it? How much value can you add to the offer? So those are all very, very, very important. Revenue, all right? So cash flow. That's the sales and marketing. Processes and systems. Most business owners do not have effective processes and systems. That is the next move that people often fight to get to the next level. They don't implement processes and systems. I have a person, and all this person does, he does processes and systems. He makes everything integrated. If you go to one of our web pages and you type in your customs information for our mastermind, because we go out of the country, boom, there's a whole domino effect that happens, and it's all done by somebody who programs that into a system. So you have to build processes and systems. The first thing I tell people to do is do it at home. What do you mean by that? If you don't have processes and systems at home, it makes it harder for you to do it in the office. So that means you need to get to the point where somebody's doing your laundry for you. You need to get to the point somebody's cleaning your house for you. I have a process and system if I want to go ahead and go to the grocery store. So the moment I'm out of something, I have a certain checklist on my phone. I type it in. I don't have to remember it anymore. All I have to do is remember when I get to the store, I pull it up. It also can be synced with somebody else. If I was in a relationship, it would be synced with her. So whoever goes to the store, they don't even have to say, honey, you want anything? It's already there. That's a process. So as you grow, create processes. If you're a one-person solo entrepreneur, you need to create processes. So why do we not often create processes? Because it takes discipline and it causes you to slow down, and it's costly until you get it done. Once it's done, boom, you're out of the gates. Let's see what else. Then the last one would be mindset. The psychology. Where's your psychology? And that's the biggest thing that's going to slow you down, and the fastest thing that can take you to the next level.
That all you do in like just 1.5 days almost, right?
I do it in one day.
Wow.
One day.
And did they get accountability after that, after the mastermind and all?
Typically, no. This is another thing we don't tell them to do that we're going to do. So I guess I'll spill the beans. We do give them some follow-up after that, but it's limited because we're bringing people on who have, some of them are millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? I mean, I've had them as 25 million more, whatever. So these are people who already have a team to make sure everything can be executed right away.
Amazing. And regarding this, we didn't touch base on more on the speaking from stages gig. What's that? You have been on TV shows and other, I'm sure, I think you have done radio as well. You have been on that advertisement. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the unfair advantage or that you got from those kind of advertisements?
It's huge advantage. The advantage is I could do one presentation in front of 100 people or the exact same presentation in front of a TV camera in front of a million people. I mean, you don't have to say any more than that, right? So it's
Mm,
smart to do that. And when you get that type of exposure, you're thinking bigger. What do all very, very wealthy companies have and billionaire companies? They all have a PR agent, all of them. They all have a
right.
PR team. There's a reason for that. They use that to get their name out, to get their image out. Now, granted, every person can do that nowadays with, the social media, but you take it to a whole nother level when you understand what public relations is and PR is. Like I shared with you earlier, somebody just reached out to me for this huge podcast. So
Mm.
what am I going to do? Birds of a feather flock together. The hostess of this very, very popular podcast, I'm going to ask her, because birds of a feather flock together, do you know of any other producers in your area doing TV shows? This is going to be in New York. So I'm going to plan New York out, probably take the jet, get some clients with me so they want to learn how I do all this. It's a
Mm.
game changer for a business. I remember before the internet, when I would get on TV, I would do 10 to 20 grand in sales just when they would plug my phone number in a day,
Oh wow.
selling cassettes. Crazy, crazy. Now, I don't believe TV has that much pull as it used to because years ago, every day somebody would recognize me when I would go outside. But remember, everything on TV goes on the internet, but not
Right.
everything on the internet goes on TV. So if you go on TV, it's a double podcast, it's double exposure.
Wow. Today's world, obviously things have changed now. So social media, these advertisements, newspapers, or speaking from stages and all, or writing your own book. You have your own books, right? I think you have wrote a bunch of them. So how do you see it as? How do you tie it back for entrepreneur who is like, okay, my product is selling, my offer is proven, and I gotta get to massive audience now, mass audience. What is the way or what is the steps you would recommend someone to do that?
This wouldn't be the format. I mean, it would take time to do that. Ultimately, you have to know who the right person is and how to contact them. Then you have to know how to sell yourself to them. That's why I think speaking is so important because when you're speaking, you're creating a level of confidence that a lot of people don't have. That's like pretty much the number one fear, right? So figure out, what the exposures that you want. Does the podcast, TV show, speaking engagement, whatever, are they the demographics or are they going to put you in front of the demographics that you're selling to? And then, the biggest thing is keep in mind that when you're a producer of a TV show that's big or a podcast, you have a million people trying to get on there. The person who's the most persistent is going to win the game. Their podcast right now, I've been beaten up on for 6 months nonstop. I have one of my team members. I don't know how regular she's doing it, but every day there's a podcast I'm having her hit every single day with an email until they wear them out.
Wow.
I
Amazing.
literally had NBC. I had their security call me years ago because I call them so much to get on their show.
That's
And if you're not
great.
willing to do that, somebody else is, and they're going to get the gig before you do.
Exactly. If you're not obsessed with the marketing of you and your own product, somebody's gonna take over.
100%.
Right on. Oh man, what's your favorite three books? I know you read like I think a bunch of books in a month. What are your three favorite books if you want to
I've got
recommend our buddy
well,
entrepreneurs?
I've got so many books right now. This
How many
is
you read in a month, by
nuts,
the way? Curious.
nuts. I'll do at least. I think I'll do four this month. Yeah, maybe four. I did half of this book this weekend.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if I can say I have a favorite book. I mean, I was a big avid fan, of the Bible. I appreciate that, obviously. The,
Let's
the
talk
Dale
about one
Carnegie
in
book,
sales.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was a big influence for me years ago. I read
Amazing.
so many I don't even know the titles.
Cool. How to win friends and influence people is my favorite too. I got this. I think it was right beside me. It's like a mini shelf, mini book. I got it from the airport. That was really cool. Oh man, Gary, where can audience find more about you? What's the social media platform? Any link they want to drop? I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, they can go to GaryCoxe.com, COXE, GaryCoxe.com, and that's the handle pretty much of all my social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all that other good stuff.
Any last piece of advice for our buddy entrepreneurs?
Last piece of advice. Your future and your past is your present. So the present emotions that you are experiencing right now only come from what you're looking at in the future as positive or negative, or something in the past that you've lost. And when you master that, you can control your present emotions 99% of the time.
Right on. So, people who are watching or listening, that was Gary Cox. If you want more details and all, he's highly active on social media. Go check out his YouTube, Instagram, all the channels. It's garycox.com. I'll also drop the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. And Gary, thank you for your time, and you have been amazing. Thank you so much
Likewise,
once again.
thank you, my friend.
All right. Signing off right now, and we'll be back with another episode very soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.